Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge, and today we have the Lunar Phases. I'm really excited to get into this, so let's just get started. We have something else to briefly talk about though. We had another creators box for Clash, reveal a new card. This was from the Law Yu-Gi-Oh! This time. So this is Torchfin. Torchfin is very interesting. So Torchfin is an insectoid, so it is searchable by Aardvarm. It is a 1/1 fire Elestral that when this Torchfin declares an attack, you can return fire spirits from your underworld to your spirit deck up to the number of enchanting fires on your field. So this has the potential to be really, really strong. Like you have like a Hephaestus or an artifact rune set up on your field, and like you can easily be recovering like 3 to 5 spirits, which is crazy. Even if the swing itself isn't doing anything, it's like using a Sluggle or a Quackle. Just putting down a Elestrals that isn't going to do anything, but it's going to heal you a ton, which can be really valuable. And if you have an established board already, it's even better. However, it is unlike Quackle and Sluggle. There's a much larger range of cards that can stop it from happening. Like Gorgons will still stop it. Tsunami will stop it. Any other form of position change, like Altar of Stars before it can attack, will stop it, etc., etc. It's just opened up to a lot more counterplay, and if your opponent only has stuff in attack position, especially if it's like a large number of spirits attack position, like Ascensions and stuff, you're gonna have to take damage to swing in with it and instantly lose your guy. You don't even have the chump blocker, so it has some problems in that regard. Honestly, my biggest problem with it is that Fire really needs like just good cards, just like solid, independently good cards, and this is a card that like really needs like a specific board setup to be super good. And that's really not what I think Fire is looking for at the moment. Fire really just needs like independently quality cards at the moment, and this is not that sort of card. So it's not too great, but it could be something. It could be something. It's definitely like like when you get that off, like healing like 3 to 4 is like crazy. That's insane. And if you're able to protect it and do that multiple turns in a row, wow, that's crazy. This card can go really nuts, and you can just run it as a one-of because you have Stoke the Forge and Small Tuga to search for it, which is pretty cool. But it does have some notable issues, and like I don't feel it's the sort of card that will turn Fire into a meta contender. But it is a solid enough card. Okay, let's talk about the Lunar Phases. Okay, so where's the first new one? Yeah, we have New Moon, of course. This is Earthquake by discarding an extra Lunar Phase. Okay, let's talk about some more. This next one is also really strong. Okay, so Waxing Crescent is target a Lunar Enchanted Elestral counter 2 cost and give it +1 attack until the end phase for each Lunar Phase in all underworlds. So as Don't Poke has demonstrated, combat tricks are really strong, and like the biggest thing holding back Argo is that it effectively costs 4. Costing 2 is significantly more than Don't Poke, but it's still much cheaper than Argo, definitely within the realm of like being like not too bad of a cost. It also does not check for different titles, like the other cards that care about multiple Lunar Phases. So this can get much higher than +8 attack, and if you're just running a ton of Lunar Phases, wow, this card's crazy. This is one of the types of cards that I think they really need to see for this Lunar Phase deck to work, because to be able to fit in all the Lunar Phases, ideally you would want stuff that is able to fulfill the role of generic runes, of some of the generic runes, so that you can have Lunar Phase names in those slots instead. And Lunar Phase Waxing Crescent is like a card that easily fills the role of one of your standard counter runes. So it's very nice. I think this card's fantastic. Wow. The biggest thing holding it back is that I can only target a Lunar Enchanted Elestral, which does hold you back when it comes to splashing in other Lunar stuff, but still like pretty solid. Alright, moving on from there, we have another counter rune, Lunar Phase First Quarter. This is 1 cost to draw a card, so it's just half. just to begin with, it's just half a Nectar, which is like solid enough on its own, especially when it's proccing your Voldusk. Then you can discard a Lunar Phase to return a Voldusk, Volumbra, or Volclipse from your Underworld to your hand. Honestly, a card like this is enough to convince me to run like a 1-of Volumbra. The ability to recycle Volclipse is pretty nice too, especially because there is a way to dump it from your hand that we'll be seeing later. And this can trigger on any of the discard effects on your opponent's turn as well. I think the best thing about this card is just that it works well with Voldusk, and it's going to allow you to accrue a lot of card advantage, which is very nice. Not really a huge standout card, but like it's passable. It's a passable card. Next up, we have this one is a bit weird. So, Waxing Gibbous. Yes, Dan. Okay. So this is another counter rune. We're still in the counter runes here. This is a 1-cost. So you target a Lunar Enchanted Elestral and change its position. You may expend a Lunar and discard Lunar Phase. If you do, the target Elestral cannot be destroyed by card effects once this turn. So, on one hand, that effect is really strong. That's a really powerful effect. On the other hand, it is super awkward because you have to change the position of the thing that you're targeting. Which means that if it's a 1-cost, it is probably going to be changed to a position where it is going to be able to be run over no problem. And that's really not where you want to be. I think where this is going to have its best applications is if you're already on Volclipse or you're on Volumbra, or the Werepup Ascension, assuming that its stats are like decently balanced. It's not too weak on any one end. Protecting one of those is where it's going to be best. But the problem is also that like it doesn't really do a whole lot outside of those specific scenarios. This is one of the cards I would have really liked to see a win discarded effect on. I don't know, this card's super weird. I think this is going to be one of the cards that you run at like 1 copy. Just to have the name, because like it's gonna have some niche scenarios where it comes up, but overall it's just not a very applicable card. It's nice for protecting your Volclipses at least, but it's still not great. Oh man, it's a weird card. This is a weird card. I don't think this card is too great. Like, even at 1 copy, you have the ability to search it. Volclipse will put it back into the deck so that you can get access to it again. So it's like, even at 1 copy, you're still going to have access to it for those niche scenarios. So, like, I think 1 copy of this card will be completely fine. Okay, Full Moon, we've gone over this before. This is a new reveal for this video, but we saw its full effect in the class trailer. It is 1-cost, counter, enchant up to 2 Lunar to an Elestral on your field. When this is discarded by another Lunar Phase, you can foretell 3. The foretell 3 is very, very nice, but unfortunately, because Werepup and Volumbra both need it for the Special Ascension, it's not terribly good as a discard target, because you need to set it so that you can flip it up for those Special Ascensions. Which is unfortunate because its actual effect is like not very good. It's not a very like, this has some like niche applications where you can go, okay, I have a Volclipse ready to go. I'm gonna flip this up, enchant an extra Lunar to my Elestral. Actually, one thing I'm realizing with this card now is what's it called? The combat trick. With the combat trick, Waxing Crescent, what you can do, this is a very expensive play, but you can go like, if your non-lunar Elestral is being attacked, you can flip over Full Moon, enchant a Lunar onto that non-lunar Elestral, and then flip over Waning, and now Waning can target it and give it the plus attack. So that's pretty cool. Actually, that's a really cool interaction. So that's one more use case I can see for this part of Full Moon. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's not bad. It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, but mainly it's mainly going to be your method of special sending. This is another card that I feel like you're going to run one copy of it. You're just going to search it off Weirpup when you want to go for the special ascension and not really want it at any other time really. Okay. Waning Gibeus. We're getting into the invokes now. So Waning Gibeus is shuffle a Lunar Phase Volumber or Volclips from your hand or Underworld into your deck in order to search your deck for a Voldusk and add to your hand. Wow, this card is crazy. So for one, this effect means that you are going to be able to run lower on Elestrals because this functions as 3 extra copies of Voldusk. Really, really nice. That's really good. And Voldusk is so important to like making these lunar phases feel super super good. That it's just like wow, that's actually really important. Um, Other than that, it's just really really good. Like the ability to put Volclips back into your deck if you're running Volumbra, so that you still have access to it for your special ascension is really good. Getting back any lunar phase into your deck so that you can search it with Werepup if it's only like a one of. That's also really nice. Lots of really really good stuff with this. Being able to shuffle from the underworld instead of the hand is just really the difference maker on this card because it means that this can just be a one-for-one search. And even on turn 1, you can go like New Moon, pop your opponent's Sky, then Waning Gibeus if you really don't want to lose a hand card. But you can also just lose a hand card. And it just makes full Umbra and Volclips, so that's bricky. Like, oh, this card is just incredible. This card's really, really good. All right. Okay, final quarter. Final quarter is a 1-cost invoke. You search your deck for up to 2 Lunar Phase and send them to your Underworld. So this is this sort of card that I was like, yeah, this is probably going to be a thing in this deck to help you get things set up. Makes a lot of sense. Just tracks. Yeah, this card's really nice. Really helps you get those Volclipses set up. Then you draw a card off it. It's on discard effect. It's also really, really good. When it's discarded by another Lunar Phase, you can return a Lunar from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. You just heal 1 for free. That's just crazy. That's insane. This card's crazy. And since you're using a Lunar Phase, you can trigger Voldusk and heal another one, or draw a card, yada yada. Just very, very, very good card. This is one of the cards I expect to be like a 3 of in the deck. All right, and this is the last new one, I believe. Yeah, this is Lunar Phase Waning Crescent. So it is a 1-cost Lunar Invoke. Return up to 2 Lunar from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. So it is a Mini-Ambrosia. That's really fantastic considering how many spirits you are likely to end up going through when playing this deck. However, it also has this cool on-discard effect, which is when it's discarded by another Lunar Phase, you can draw a card, then discard a card. So this lets you get Volumbras and Volclipses out of your hand if they're clogging up your hand. It lets you just filter more. But also, because this is a Lunar Phase, I believe if you discard a Lunar Phase with a discard effect off this, you will also proc that effect. So you can just start chaining together Lunar Phases. And I think if you discard Waning Crescents off this, you will just keep triggering this effect, which is super crazy. Wow, that's just incredible. And yeah, I believe that is all of them. So on the subject that I talked about last video, yeah, I think we do have enough like generically good stuff in here that you could just find New Moon being splashed into other decks. Like, in particular, I look at Waning Crescent, because it's just a Mini-Ambrosia, and you're not going to have... You're not going to mind having more Ambrosias. Plus, it has a solid effect that you can get off discarding it to New Moon. And the other one is this one, despite the fact that, like, its Dump 2 effect is not going to be super useful in the average deck, then you recover a Lunar when you discard it for New Moon, or for or for Raining Crescent's effect, means that like it's gonna be solid enough there too. So like I feel that these three together like make a justifiable enough splashable Lunar Phase package that you could just put in other decks to get access to New Moon, and you won't necessarily go with all of those. Like I think you could probably get away with just New Moon plus Waning Crescent, because Waning Crescent is just like a generally good card if you're on Lunar Spirits. It's just a Mini-Ambrosia. Like, it's just a Drautago that you cast from hand. It's just a Drautago that doesn't use your normal cast. Like, that's what this is. And it has an effect when you discard for New Moon. Like, just really, really good. Like, Waning Crescent is, like, the exact sort of card I think we needed to see for New Moon to be splashable. And we got this, so, like, this is probably going to be splashable. Which gives us good generic removal back in the format. Waxing Crescent is also like important if you're on like any sort of lunar deck. I think it is going to be super worth it to put in a package of like New Moon. Like if you're on a lunar based deck, you should probably be running Waxing Crescent plus Waning Crescent plus New Moon. I think those three together will be super worthwhile to run because if you're on lunar stuff, that means you're going to be able to use this very, very powerful combat trick. This combat trick is insane. It's so strong. Yeah, it's so good. Wow. Yeah, this stuff is fantastic. I might start theory crafting this deck like as soon as I finish recording this video and maybe like record some test footage of it. I don't know. We'll see. This seems really, really good. Wow. Wow. I'm really impressed by this deck. It's going to have some like inherent flaws in that to fit in all these lunar phases, you're going to have to give up a bunch of generic tools. So it's going to have weaknesses born of doing that, and it's going to have less option for splashing stuff because of that. However, it's still just going to be just like a crazy. It just seems really, really good. This engine seems just really strong. Having an Earthquake in here, having an Ambrosia in here, having a combat trick in here. Those are all tools that like to me signal that this will be a very strong deck. Yeah, very, very impressed. This seems very good. Voldesk especially. Wow, Voldesk is such a crazy card. Werepop searching everything is really good, and you have like just good guys in Lunar like Spectaris. So yeah, I think this is going to be a real deck. I think this is going to be super real. Very excited. Very excited. All right. With that said, this is going to be Hunter Surge signing off.